Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of MSBA's Open Session. And on this program, we're going to be discussing a topic that a lot of us are involved in these days as we're working and living remotely, and that is the use of video conferencing technology, including Zoom and other technologies. And certainly that's being used throughout our state by schools to deliver instruction and have meetings. But there are some issues involved with that, and we want to talk about that during this program. Our guest today is Ivan Moore, and Ivan is with the Video Consulting Group and Technical Support Services with MoreNet. And many of you are familiar with MoreNet. It provides internet connectivity, technical services, and technical training to K-12 schools across our state, colleges and universities, and other public entities. And Ivan, thanks a lot for being with us. We appreciate it.
Well, welcome. Thanks for the invite.
Well, Ivan, tell us about some of the concerns that you're hearing about regarding the use of Zoom, which we're using right now for this program, and other video technologies, the widespread use of that among schools right now, and it can be a very effective tool. But what do schools need to think about when using it?
Well, so I think Zoom has a pretty good admin guide that covers many of the issues that certainly a K-12 school should be concerned with. The very first thing out of the gate is to make sure there's parental approval, that the schools have reached out. Many schools have already done that, but the fact that often the kids haven't been recorded in a classroom environment before, it's a nuance that they need to make sure they have covered. So that would probably be first. Obviously, second is the proper configuration of the Zoom account. It is an enterprise level product. It's not something you open up out of the box and just start to use. You have to secure it properly. And there's many websites you can go to look at this. Zoom has really good material on how to do this. You can go there. You can go to MoreNet's website. A lot of instructional videos on step-by-step processes to make sure both your administrative side is secure, which is important, and from a instructor's perspective or a teacher's perspective, that the personal choices are locked down. Mm-hmm. Other concerns we're hearing, of course, Zoom has risen to the top of the heap in 2 weeks. I think we added. I'm not sure exactly, don't hold me to it, somewhere around 18,000 user accounts to the schools around Missouri just in the last 14 days. Over 200 organizations brought online in that same period. So a very rapid response, and I think a lot of people thought it was a take it out of the box, unwrap it, and use it. So, and 90% of the problems with Zoom are equivalent to going to a busy parking lot, getting out of your car, leave the car doors open and the keys in it. So Zoom is very much a product that you can do that with if you don't take simple steps to secure it, like simple things like disabling the join before host option, passwords on your meetings. Many organizations are making that mandatory now, which is Zoom's suggestion. Those two things alone were responsible for most of the bad press. Now, other things, privacy is a big issue. Again, you've got to follow the guidelines. Encryption has come up in the press. Facebook data harvesting, Chinese data harvesting. Zoom is doing a weekly Ask Eric Anything. He's the CEO of Zoom. I think he did a very good job yesterday addressing all of the concerns that I've heard that hit the press. And I would definitely go out and listen to those recordings. If you have specific questions, be sure to reach out to us. We'll do our best to answer them. But I think they've climbed on top of most of the issues that were concerning me.
We're hearing a lot, Ivan, of course, about hackers getting involved with Zoom feeds and disrupting those feeds with some inappropriate content at times. So are you saying if you take these security measures that that are available through Zoom, that you can prevent a lot of that?
Absolutely. In fact, being an IT professional, I use the word hacking selectively. Again, it goes back to if you leave the keys in your car and someone steals it, did they hack your car, or were you just negligent in setting up the safety precautions? As far as I know, and I'm always glad to be proven wrong. I've not heard of anybody actually hacking into Zoom software and doing nefarious things. It's been because you started a meeting without a password. The password was widely distributed to an audience, and then somebody got hold of it and exploited having that meeting ID and password. So a few simple precautions, and that problem goes away.
Ivan, of course, a lot of schools and teachers across our state now are using video conferencing, Zoom, and other technologies to deliver instruction to students. What are you hearing about that? Is it working? Are there certain things that schools can do to make that effective for students?
So I think it's a mixed bag right now. So I'm sharing the house now with my wife, who's a elementary school teacher, and my daughter, who is a freshman up at Northwest Missouri State. Both of whom are attending classes. My wife is an art teacher in the elementary segment, so she spent 10 days working up lessons that could be taught online. And it's very interesting to hear her reaction. I think it's successful. Obviously, it's hard to do online courses if you have no internet connection at home or you have no device. Luckily, her school has Chromebooks that they distribute. They use Google Meet for interactive. They use Zoom for staff meetings or a combination. And that seems to be working as well as it can. The jury's still out on the number of kids that can attend because of the internet connection. Other schools have been going out and buying MiFi cards and distributing to their kids. I think Columbia did that. I forget how many, but it was several hundred. And some other schools have talked about that. I've heard of roving buses on a schedule with an access point on the bus connected to MiFi cards, all this type of stuff. So the internet's obviously the crux of the whole matter. You've got to have sufficient bandwidth and access to the technology. But as far as the teachers and students using it, as old as I am, it's new to a lot of people in my generation. But the younger teachers and the kids, they eat it up like candy. They're used to it and they adapt. And I'm just amazed at all the teachers out there that in the space of just a few days completely changed the way they teach because they had to, and there was no wringing of hands and saying, oh, we can't do this. It's like, we have to do it. And they figured out a way. And I'm just incredibly amazed how the teachers have responded. And some of it successful, some of it not, but I think they'll get a handle on it better and better as time goes on.
It is amazing how quickly they've responded, Ivan, and how committed they are to delivering instruction to kids during this very unprecedented time. An issue that you just mentioned, though, continues to be an issue, I know, in some parts of Missouri, and that's adequate broadband, and also just individual students and families with access to the technology and internet.
Right.
And we do have some places in Missouri where that's a problem, don't we?
Absolutely. Today I'm on a pretty marginal internet connection in Howard County, Missouri. But at least it's something, and at least it's fairly reliable. There's a lot of places that don't have that luxury, and unfortunately, internet anymore is not a luxury. It's a must-have. And Mornet's goal is to push out our state network as far as we can get it, as fast as we can get it. But obviously, there's a lot of work to be done there.
Right. All right. Ivan Moore with MoreNet. Thank you so much for your time and discussing this issue with us. And it's an evolving issue, and we'll have more information for certainly our school board members and schools across the state in the weeks to come as this technology is being used more and more. But thank you very much for being with us. And we thank you for joining us on this edition of MSBA's Open Session.